Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back. Today's daf is Nazir Lamed Ches. We are holding on Lamed Zayin Amud Beis at the fourth line from the bottom of the Amud. Amalei Rav Ashi Rav Kahana. Let's go back to yesterday's discussion. We had a chiddush. When it comes to Isurei Nazir, we allow the heter to be mitzdaref to the Isser to achieve the shear of a kizayis, for instance. So you don't have enough Isser material, you can combine some heter material to that Isser to get you the total of kizayis. So Rav Ashi asks the kasha, Elahad Sanya. Take a look at the following brayso, which learns from the pasuk by Nazir. What's that pasuk coming to add? What's the chiddush here? It's coming to teach you limed ali suri nazir shemitzdarfen zeimze. All the different types of forbidden materials for a nazir. You have the grapes, you have the raisins, you have everything together can be mitzdarif for a shir kazayis. So even if you have less than a kazayis of grapes and less than a kazayis of raisins, etc., zagim, chartzam, skins, pits, you put it all together, you have a total of a kazayis, he is chayiv malchus. Questions like this. Rabbi Akiva, according to him, hashta yesh leimar, heter mitzdarif le'isr. If even permissible materials can join the Isser material for a total of kizayis, even a heter kibi mitzdaraf can combine with the Isser for shir kizayis. Of course, Isser le'Isser mebaya, it goes without saying. If you have two forbidden materials that they would join together and combine for shir kizayis, what's the point of the pasuk? Isn't that obvious? If heter is mitzdaraf to Isser, of course, Isser is mitzdaraf to Isser. Amalei, Rav Kahana responds, no, big difference. When we speak about heter being mitzdaraf to Isser, that's bevas achas, when you're eating them together, whether mixed together, according to Tosfos, according to Rashi and Pesachim, just eating it at the same time. It's one eating experience. That makes that combination. But only if it's bevas achas. But if you eat them separately, even within a short time, it doesn't join together. It doesn't connect. But Isser, when you have one Isser substance together with another Isser material, wine and grapes and pits and skins, those two food items can be mitzdarf together, even if it's one after the other. So a couple of grapes, a couple of pits, even if you're not eating it together at the same time, this food with that food will gather together, will be mitzdarif. And that's what we learn from the pasuk. So again, when it comes to two items of Isser l'Nazir, you can join them together, the grapes and the pits, even though you don't have a shir kazayis of each one, even though you're not eating them together the same second. As opposed to heter be mitzdaraf l'Isser, that's only when it's eaten bevas achas. Asks the Gemara, Rabbi Shimon. There is a famous Rabbi Shimon, the less late tziruf, who doesn't need tziruf. What does that mean? Because he holds that, in contrast to Shitas Rabbanan, the accepted halacha, that the minimum shear of Isurei Achila in the Torah is a kazayis. He holds that even less than a kazayis qualifies for Isser. Some Farshim explain because of the chiddush of achshevei. When a fellow sits down to eat just a small portion of Isser, he's giving it chashivas, he's giving it prominence and importance. That elevates its status, and it is now considered a ma'aseh achila. So according to Reb Shimon, even just one pit, one grape, one skin is sufficient to generate Isser, sufficient to generate malchus of a nazir. You don't need tziruf, you don't need a kazayis. You never need to combine two materials for a total of kazayis. If so, what about the pasuk? What does he need that pasuk for? Amar lei Amar lach. So Shimon would respond to that question as follows: Hahu, that possibly Beile is needed to teach us. La'olam einoi Nazir ashi yazir mikulan. A Nazir is only considered as such if he willingly accepts upon himself all the various elements of the Nazir practice. So suppose he says only, tiglachas I'm okay with. I'm not going to cut my hair, but wine I can't live without. You're not a Nazir. Right? So if he just says I'm a Nazir, okay, the assumption is it's all included. But if he specifies, he itemizes, he only picks and chooses some things, it doesn't work. It needs to be a total comprehensive acceptance. Continues the Gemara. So the other day we had Rabbi Yechanan's Shita. Then when it comes to Isuri Achila, we never amitzar of heta to Isur except for by Nazir. Here comes another aspect of that concept. Amar Rabbo, Amar Rabbi Lazar. He will quote Rabbi Lazar as follows: Kol revi'iyos shebetorah. All Isurei shtia, all forbidden liquids, forbidden drinks found in the Torah, where the Isser depends on the Shir Revius, right? So the minimum of drinking wine of Erla, Kalea, Kerem, etc. would be a Revius. Ein heter mitzaraf l'Isser. You can't complete the Shir Revius by adding heter liquid, except chutz mirevius shebenazir, except for the Nazir drinking wine. Shari Amar Torah Mishras. Pasuk says Mishras, to tell you that if you have a wine-soaked, piece of bread, so even though you have less than a revius of wine, the heter is mistarf to the Isser, and he's over the Avera. Asks the Gemara, "My ikabein Rabbi Yechon? Is there any difference between Rabbi Yechanan's way of presenting this halacha 2 days ago? He said all achila shebetorah, all are not going to be mitzaref l'Isser, but by Nazir it is heter mitzaref l'Isser. Is there any difference between the way he expressed the halacha, Rabbi Lezer, the way Rabbi Lezer expressed the halacha today?" Says the Gemara, there is a slight difference. Rabbi Yechon spoke about all Yisurim Shabbatera, that's the way he said it, back on Aflamed Haman base, Kol Yisurim Shabbatera. And Rabbi Lezer focuses on Isser Revius, which is clearly a liquid-related Isser. So like this. Ikebena, difference like this. The Rabbi Yechanan Marbi Afilu Eichlan. When Rabbi Yechanan said, regarding other Isurim, we don't say Heter Mitzaref Isser, except for by Nazir. He means even the Isser Achila of Nazir, grapes, etc., we can be Mitzaref Heter Isser to get the Revius. As opposed to Rabbi Lezer, who'd referenced Revius, right? So according to Rabbi Lezer, we're speaking about drinks only. Rabbi Lezer mashkin in midechin, only by drinks. For instance, the wine, which is also for a Nazir. If there's less than a Revius, you can be mashlim. You can complete the shir with heter, and the chiddush is even through bread. The Farshim explained, because that's the derech of shtia. You dip, bread into the wine. So that's going to make that, complete the shir. But ultimately, it's only regarding forbidden liquids, which allow for the heter mitzaref l'Isser, as opposed to Rabbi Yechanan, who didn't make reference specifically to Revius. It works even by solids which are dependent on shir kazayis. So even there we say, when it comes to Nazir, heter is mitzaref l'Isser to get you that shir kazayis. Amr Lazar. So once we see speaking about Isser shti of yain for a Nazir, which is dependent upon shir Revius, we have another presentation by Rabbi Lazar giving us a comprehensive list of all the times, all the Issurei shtia which depend on all the not just Isurim, all liquid-related halachas which are dependent upon shir Revius, which is the Revius of halug, of course. Amar Balaz Eser Revius. We find the concept of a shir Revius 10 times in the Torah. Eser Revius. V'nokat Rav Kahana b'yadei. Rav Kahana, in order to remember all 10, he adopted a simon. He made a system, in which case he can remember, he can recall all the 10 different things. V'nokat Rav Kahana b'yadei chamish. Some because of 5 of these 10 involve more reddish types of liquids, blood or wine. V'chamish chibrusa, and 5 are white, light-colored liquids, like water, oil. Okay, what are the 5 dark ones? Chamish sumkas are the 5 red ones. Nazir. So it's a short, abbreviated list, and the Gemara will explain each one separately. We have Nazir, that's number 1. Vaise Pesach, that's number 2. Shahiru, B'migdash, Umesu, total of 5. Meaning, Nazir is the revius yain la-Nazir. Of course, Nazir drinks the revius of wine. That's the Isser. What's the Vaise Pesach? That's at the Seder night. Damar B'damar Shmuel, Arba Kaises alal, the 4 kaises that we drink at the Seder. Sarach shehiban k'dei revius, needs to have a revius, a log of wine in each one. The third item is shahiru. What is that? Shasa revius yain, a fellow drank a revius of wine. Al yoyrem, he may not rule on a halachic, a psak. The 4th item is b'migdash. Shasa revius yain, nichas l'migdash, chayiv misa. A person drinks a revius of wine, goes into the migdash, doesn't have his, the right presence of mind, the right seriousness. He's chayav misa. Number 5 is umesu. What is that? The sanya. This pertains to blood, which is also red. We know that a revius quantity of dam coming from a mace is metame, even betumas oil. Metame, anything under the same roof. Here's a chiddush. Even if the revius of dam is a combination coming from 2 different mason, it is metame be'oil. It has that same power. Shenemar, v'al nafshois, meis lo yavai. So actually, it's a Rekiva in Mesechus Sanhedrin that learns from here. Nefashos meis is lashon rabim. Even if the dam came from 2 nefashos, so the revius is really a combination of 2 mason. It's metame, just as it would have come from 1 mace. So here we have the 5 halachis, which are dependent on shir revius, and they're all reddish colored, whether wine or dam. The next 5 are the light-colored reviyos, v'chamish chibrasa. And we have a short-form list, which is chalas, nazir, u'metzorah, shenifselu b'shabbos. What are these 5? Chalas is the reviyos shemen l'chala. It's a reviyos of oil, which is used as an ingredient in making of the breads for the korban toida. Next item is nazir. Revius shaman la-nazir. Revius shaman used for the nazir's breads. What is metzorah? Revius ma'im la-metzorah. Metzorah would come up with a revius of water, in which case, inside he would dip the bird, etc., to complete his tahara system. So that was a revius of water. Next item is shenifselu. What does that mean? Zisnan. As we learned in the Mishnah in Mesechus Meila. Ushar kalamashkan tmein, poislan is agvia b'revius. If a fellow drinks all types of impure mashkin which are tamei, so this fellow's a kayin, and he drank a revius of that drink, it disqualifies the gvia, the person, from eating truma. The next item is b'Shabbos. How does the revius of mashkin pertain to Shabbos? Regarding the shiur of malacha of carrying. It's not shar kal mashkin revius. So the Mishnah there listed us, gave us the shiurim regarding other types of, wine and milk and etc. What about others? Liquids not mentioned in that Mishnah. Shar kal mashkin. What is a shiur? How much is needed to be over the malacha veitzah? B'revius, if it has a revius. Ushar kal shayfchem. Likewise, other wastewaters, b'revius. If there's a revius of that type of liquid and one carries that out in the street on Shabbos, he's chayiv. So this is a total of 5 darkish liquids and 5 lighter liquids. We have no more than 10 halachas pertaining to revius. Listen to one more. Ve'ikam revius. If one has a kli which contains a revius of water, that is sufficient for netilas yadayim, even for more than one person. One person can use it for his washing his hands. Even two people. The second person uses the remnants, whatever's left behind after the first one uses it. That's called shiyar tahara, even though there's no revius left. It's chashav enough, it can be used even by two people. So why didn't we mention that on our list? A revius from netilas yadayim. The answer is pluk to loikamari. He wanted to stay away from any halachas which involve dispute and machlekes. And this is a machlekes tanoim, whether, in fact, this can be used by two people. So we stay clear of a machlekes. What about the next halach? Vayika hayamevi fioli shel cheres. So this is the kohen bringing a fioli, a container of cheres, earthenware kli, for the isha who strayed, for the soita, in which he would pour a half a look of water, min akir, which he took from the kir vessel. Rabbi Yehuda revius, it was just a revius. Here we go, another halacha regarding revius. Why didn't we add it to the list? Same teretz as before, but pluktu lekamari, he wanted to steer clear of anything involving machlekes. So he only mentioned halachas which are straightforward and accepted by all. What about the next halach? Vayika kama mayim noisin l'seicha. How much would a person have to pour? How much water does he have to pour into a container which contains wastewater, a meiraglaim, urination, which a person cannot daven next to? So how much water does he have to pour in it to sort of nullify the meiraglaim and allow him to daven nearby? Kosher, even a drop. You need to have a substantial amount of water poured into the meiraglaim. You need a revius. So why wasn't this halacha added to our list? Once again, we steer clear of machlekes. What about the shiur of mikvah? Ve'ika mikvah, we learned this in Gemara Pesachim, that although you need to have a full mikvah, that's for a person who needs arba'im sa. But for small utensils like a needle which became tummy, even the revius of water is sufficient for that. Ve'ika mikvah. So why wasn't this included in our list? Says the Gemara, because that halacha was sort of cancelled. Bar me'ahi. Let's keep away. Let's leave this share out of our discussion. But Rabbanan, because Rabbanan came around and cancelled, nullified that halacha. Why? For concern that people will start using such a small shear, even for kalim, which are bigger than a shear of revius, or even let's say a person. A person will start using a small amount of water, thinking that it's all size dependent. Bottom line is, to keep things consistent and clear, we stop using the mini mikveh. That's why it was not included in our list. Okay, so let's just summarize the Amar Aleph. We had the halach of tziruf, so we can tzarif all the different isuri nazir to each other, even if it's eaten b'zeh chazeh. Let's learn from the pasuk kol asher yaseh. We know that when it comes to isuri nazir, heter mistaraf l'isur. According to Rabbi Yehuda, even by Isurei Achila, according to Rabbi Lazar, Dafka by Isurei Mashkin. We have a total of 10 halachas pertaining to revius, 5 regarding reddish materials, 5 regarding lighter materials. We have others, but most of them involve machlekes, so we keep away. So we had this machlekes in the Mishnah back in the beginning of the parak. What is the quantity? What is the shiur regarding Achilas Nazir? Tanakama held that whether we're speaking about solids or liquids, it's all about a sheer revius. That was the Mishnah Rishayna. Whereas our Mishnah held that it's a sheer kazayis, whether food materials or even the yayin is all kazayis dependent. Now you'll ask, how could you measure liquids? How could you get to share kazayis? So the Tosfos explains, you fill the kli with wine and you dip an olive, a zayis, in there, and the amount of a spillover is considered a sheer kazayis of that liquid. And likewise, in the reverse, if you want to get a sheer revius of solids, you would have to take a cup full of wine and put solids in there, fill, get the spillover, and as soon as you get to a spillover of revius, so the amount of solids which had precipitated that spillover revius of wine is considered a sheer revius of that solid material. So bottom line is, we have machlekes, isuri nazir. Are they kazayis dependent or revius dependent? Says the Gemara, Tanakama le'medame lohay nechol isuri nazir l'shtia. Tanakama, the Mishnah Rishayna, who held that everything is revius dependent. That's because he says, the Mishnah Rishayna, who held that everything is revius, he held that we don't compare le'medame lohay l'chol isuri nazir l'shtia. And there's a gissa which takes out the word loy, because actually he does connect everything to shtia. He says, look, just like the shear of shtias yain is revius, right? We know throughout the whole Torah, shtias yain is revius, and then Farshim explain, especially over here, because we have the word sheichar by Nazir, and by the issur of drinking wine before entering the Beis HaMikdash we have sheichar, and we know just like over there it's revius, over here it's revius as well. So bottom line is, the issur shtia throughout the Torah is revius, and likewise, the eating related issur by Nazir is also revius based, which is unusual, because typically issur achila is kazayis based. Here we bundle it all together. We compare the issur achil to issur shtia. It's all revius. That's shittas Tanakama. For Rabbi Kiva, shittas Rabbi Kiva in our Mishnah, who says no, it's all kazayis based. Even wine and vinegar, all these issur shtia are also kazayis based. He goes the other way. Kiva nechsiv, since the pasuk says like this, after discussing issur shtia, it says ve'anavim with a vav. Vav is a connector. Ve'anavim lachem iveshim lo yechel. Don't eat fresh or dried grapes. So we connect solids to liquids. So liquids to solids. Ma achila kazayis. Just like when it comes to issur achila, it's of course kazayis based throughout the whole Torah. Achila is always kazayis. Af kol isurim sheb'Torah. Likewise, the other isuri nazir, even the issur shtia, is based on kazayis, and therefore he says kazayis is the key, a word throughout all the isuri nazir. V'chayev ala yain b'fnei atzmoi v'chulu. Tanarabban, listen to this price. The Torah gives you an itemization of all the materials which are asad to the nazir. Anavim lachem, right, fresh grapes, viveshim, raisins, etc., etc. Tanarabbanan, you don't need to combine them. And in fact, if a fellow was warned, a nazir was told, don't eat, these things, and he eats some fresh grapes and then some raisins, kazayis of each, he will get separate liabilities, separate malchiyos. See, the question is, why does the Torah have to specify, don't have fresh grapes and dried grapes? I mean, grapes are grapes. The Torah here is telling us each one is treated separately. Each one has its own, sort of category, its own yichus. And if he eats a kazayis of fresh grapes and a kazayis of dried grapes, raisins, he gets a separate malchus. L'chayev al zeh b'fnei atzmoi v'al zeh b'fnei atzmoi. Mikana tadan. This is a precedent. This is a source. L'chol yisurim sheb'Torah regarding other yisurim in the Torah. That what? Makan, just like in this case. Shu min echad, even though we're speaking of the same type of food. They're both grapes. But still, they're considered separate. Ve'en shnei shemes, because they're called separately. They're called different names. One is called, lach. One is called yavish. And therefore we say, even though there was just one hasra, one warning, not to have the Isser Nazir, and he goes and eats these two types of grapes, v'chayiv al zeh b'fnei atzmai v'al zeh b'fnei atzmai. This generates two Isurim, two Chiyuvim, two Malchiyas. Afko, likewise elsewhere. Shuman Echad, you find the same min, the same category, Ve'en shnei shemes, but it's sort of split into two subcategories. Chayiv al zeh b'fnei atzmai v'al zeh b'fnei atzmai. This generates a separate Chiyav, one per type. What's these added? What are you referring to? We're coming to add chamra chadot of envy. fresh wine and grapes. So, let's say he was warned against eating grapes. Right? You're a Nazir, don't have grapes. He had a gzais of grapes and a gzais of freshly squeezed grape juice. He's chayv twice. Why? Even though they're both coming from the same source, they're both grapes, but they're slightly different. They're considered shnei shemois, and therefore there's a separate chiyuv, one per each item. Omar Abai, here comes an interesting machlekes. A Nazir goes ahead and eats forbidden materials. Achal chartzam. So he ate the pit of a grape. Guess what? Like a shtayim. He would get malchus twice. We'll see in a minute why. Achal zag. Likewise, if he eats the skins of the grapes, like a shtayim, he gets malchus twice. Ochal chartzen vizag, if he eats the skins and the pits, like a shalish, he gets malchus 3 times. You know why? Because we have 2 separate warnings in the Torah. One pasuk says, don't have grapes, don't have pits, don't have skins. And then there's that other pasuk which covers all the materials in one pasuk. Pasuk which we began our daf with today. It's a lav kloli, it's a general, all-encompassing umbrella warning, covering all the various materials which are asa to the Nazir. Therefore says Abaye, everything that he eats gets him double penalty. 1 for the specific item which he had, number 2 because he's violating that general umbrella issa. It's called a lav shebiklolis, and according to Abaye, it generates malchus as well. Rava disagrees. Malchus only comes for specifics, not for general umbrella lavs. Rava ma'ini local achas, you have a pit, you get 1 malchus. Because I have pits. 1 malchus. She'einoi loika alav shebeklolis. There's no malchus generated by a general lav. Moser Rav Papa has a kasha on Abaye, who says there's an additional malchus because of that pasuk of Mikol Sheyasa. Listen to this Bryce. Rabbi Yehuda Kessler, Nazir sheyisheshe yain kol hayom. A Nazir is drinking wine a whole day straight. Ein chayv ala achas. He gets only 1 malchus because he was only warned once. Don't drink wines, even though he's drinking non-stop a whole day. 1 malchus. But let's say he was warned over and over again, and he violated over and over again. Each one is a separate penalty. Amar lo, told him, al tishte, don't drink. Al tishte, don't drink. And he keeps on drinking in defiance of their repeated warnings. Chayiv al kachas v'achas. He will get malchus on each incident separately. Continues the Bryce. Achal, suppose he ate all the different types, the whole variety, the whole gamut. Achal anovim lachem, fresh grapes, vivashim, raisins, achartzarim, pits, v'zagam, and skins. V'shakat eshkol shel anovim, and to top it off, he squeezed, a cluster of grapes and made them into grape juice. V'shas, and he drank that as well. So a total of 5 materials. Like a chamish, he gets 5 times malchus. Right, as we explained before, because each one has a different shem, a different description, it's a different item, and therefore it generates a separate malchus. According to Abaye, sheish, he must get another malchus. Achasal mikol asher asa. According to Abaye, that pasuk generates another malchus. Lav shebachlolis. That's a kasha on Abaye. Why does the Brisa only say 5 and not 6? That's not a problem. Ton of a shir. Sometimes the Brisa will, a Tana will give you a list and leave something out. Left out, omitted something from the list. There's no, you can't conclude from here that there's no malchus for Mikol Asher Ya'asa. You're just making a point that each separate type of food generates its own malchus. But of course there's another malchus to top it all off in accordance with Abaye's shita. Says the Gemara, but it's unusual for a Tana to leave out just 1 malchus. If it was an incomplete list, okay, so he omitted one thing, but it's something else, it makes sense. But here, my shir, what else can you figure that the Tana left out? Tana omitted from his list the high shir, which would justify and explain that he left out your lav as well. I'll tell you what he left out. Shir, you know what he left off? Lo yachal dvaray. There's another malchus because every Nazir, every Nazirus comes about by way of a vow, by way of a neder. When a person violates his nether, he's over b'layachal dvarei. So a Nazir as well is over on his commitment. Not only did he violate those specific Nazir-related lavin, but he's over the generic lav of b'layachal dvarei because he violated his own words, his own commitment, his own nether. So the fact that the Brisa left that off the list, we see it's not a complete list, and that explains that perhaps he left out Abaye's lav as well. Well, no, Imishim Hai. Well, if that's what you think he left off, lav shiurhu, that wouldn't be considered an omission. You know why? Because he's not getting involved in general, non-Nazir related lavin. Kiktani, the lavin that the Brisa itemizes, those are uniquely Nazir isurin. These are unique to a Nazir, unfound anywhere else. As opposed to Le'achal Dvari, that's a generic lav. Isi ben Adarm, you find it all over, Mesechus Nadarm. So that wouldn't be considered an omission, which would justify and back our claim that the Brisa left off some lav. Amali Ravina mi Parzikya, Ravashi. I'll give you something that the Brisa left out. Vaishir, you know which Brisa was left out? The Bein HaBenai. You remember the other day we had these little mini grapes which grow between the clusters, so they don't develop and mature properly, and we have a special pasuk, Mechatzanim Va'ad Zag. The word Va'ad Zag was referring to this, low-grade grape. So here we have another example, another type of grape material, which theoretically can generate another malchus if consumed by a Nazir, and the Brisa leaves this out. So you see, it's an incomplete list. Says the Gemara, Elam Rav Papa. Actually, Rav Papa comes back and says like this. Don't ask a kasha from this Brisa. According to Taisus, the Gemara is actually asking now on Rava, because Rava says that there's nothing left out of this Brisa. Well, we do find something left out of the Brisa. We found Bein HaBenayim. And in which case it's not a complete list, and that explains why the Brisa also did not mention Abaye's lav. That seems to be the point of the Gemara. In any case, either it's a kasha on Rava, or it's just a statement that it answers the kasha on Abaye, why the Brisa left it out. Bottom line is, Rav Papa comes around and says, look, let me explain something to you. Elam Rav Papa. Lo tanya midi. Really? Rav Papa was the one who asked this kasha on Abaye. He says, you know what? I want to tell you something. Lo tanya midi. Chamish. Really, the Brisa never mentioned the number 5. Brisa never said, theoretically there are 5, lav and 5 malchus for a Nazir. So really, it can make sense that there is a 6th one as well. And because of Abaye's lav of Mikol Asher Ya'asa Megefna Yayin. We can say that. There is really 6. And even though the Brisa was quoted differently, Brisa was quoted that he gets like a chamish. It's not so. Brisa never said the number 5. Just said gets malchus. Okay. Says, what do you mean? Rabbi himself quoted the Brisa, right? And he mentioned 5, right? So he was quoting this Brisa, which says that there are 5 malchus, and he used that as a kasha on Abaye. What do you mean the Brisa doesn't say 5? The Brisa didn't say the number 5. My time I said, why do you even ask for this Brisa? Amar Papa. Papa explains. Ano savri lav gemara biyadi. I was trying to sort of test the waters. When Abaye told us that there was an extra lav of Mikol Asher Ya'asa, every Isra Achil of Nazir gets 2 lavin. One, local for this thing, and one that general, all-encompassing lav. I figured it was something that Abaye himself originated. He himself made up that lav, so to speak. It was his own opinion. I know Sabri lav Gemara biyadi. I didn't know that it was something that he learned from his Rebbeim, something that was known from previous generations. And therefore I challenged them from the Brisa. I sort of pretended that in fact the Brisa used the number 5. Why? I wanted to test him. I wanted to see, I figured if it's something that he himself, sort of introduced, then perhaps he would just, accept my kasha, accept the Brisa as fact, and say, okay, concede and go back from his shita. Back off. But I didn't really realize the Gemara biyade, that Abaye wasn't making it up, was something that he learned from his Rebbeim. But the other way, and he would not concede. It's something that he knew as a fact. So I was basically using the Brisa as a test, to test his conviction, to test the level of his absoluteness. So that's why when Abaye told us about the extra lav, I came up with this Brisa, pretended that it said number 5, and then I sort of gauged his reaction. If it's something that he was unsure about, he would just back off and concede. It turns out that he was actually pretty secure in the knowledge that in fact there's an extra lav, and therefore he wouldn't back off. So now I'll tell you the truth, Brisa never said the number 5. And in fact, it can very well be so that Abaye is right, that there's always that extra lav shebechlolos. Interesting Gemara. Rabbi Nazir, he says like this: a Nazir is only chayv if he has 2 chartzanim and 1 zag. Right, so the 2 chartzanim are 2 pits, and 1 zag is the skin. That's according to Rabbi Yossi, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's the other way around. The chartzanim are the skins, and zagim are the pits. Rabbi Yossi says, "K'man metargiminan." There's a targum on the pasuk which says "Mechartzanim va'adzag lo yochal." So the translation, the Aramaic translation on that is "Mepurtzinin va'ad itzurin." So the Nazir can't have anything from purtzinin to itzurin. Mechartzanim va'adzag. So purtzinin are the pits, and that corresponds to the word chartzanim. Mechartzanim va'adzag mepurtzinin va'ad itzurin. Who's speaking? Who's shita does that line off with? Right, we had 2 opinions in the Mishnah regarding how to call these things, right? So the chartzanim here, according to our Targum, are the pits. That's Rabbi Yossi, who says, and in fact, the purtzinin are the pits, and the zagim are the outer shells, the skins of the grapes. Okay, to summarize our daf today, all the various foods which are also to the Nazir can be mitzdarf to each other to generate the shir kazais. According to Reb Shimon, we never need a kazais. Even a mashu has prominence and generates malchus. We have another chiddush on top of all that. There isn't enough material, isser material there. We can mitzaref heta to isser. According to Rabbi Yechon, even regarding food items, of course Nazir related, and according to Rabbi Lazar, even only liquid related tziruf works. Continue with that list of 10 halachas which are revius related. We have some more which are mostly machlekes based. We had the machlekes regarding the shir achila and shti of Nazir. Some say kazayis, some say revius. We had a chiddush, not even various types of grapes would be considered separate when it comes to Isser Nazir. He gets a malchus for each one separately. We had this machlekes between Abaye and Rava regarding lav shebechlolis. Suppose a Nazir sits down to have his grapes. How many Isurim is he over? He's over the Isser of Anavim Loyechel. What about the general Isser? Mikol she'yasim megef and which covers all the various forbidden materials. Abaye says that adds another lav. Rava says there's no lav for that, there's no malchus for that, because it's a general all-encompassing umbrella lav. It's called lav shebechlolis, which doesn't generate malchus. All the best to you. May Hashem give us much siyata d'shmaya. Amen.